Hi, everybody. My name is Keith Freeze, and I was looking at different technology, and I stumbled upon a dumb phone called the Lite Phone 2. This company, Lite, has come out with original Lite Phone 2, and then now Lite Phone 3. And it's a pretty cool idea, which is just to try and get away from having a smartphone, having all that social media, all those apps on your phone, and just getting down to the basic root of what a phone is. But I looked at different user reviews on YouTube and saw that there was generally a very positive outpouring of comments to be made about this phone, but there were also some hangups about it. And for me, I think just coming from the perspective of somebody that just wants to own a phone, not necessarily a smartphone, I wanted to give my 2 cents on what a good dumb phone might look like. So to start, I'm going to call this the Lite. In theory, they might call it the Lite 4 if it was part of a series, but I'm calling it the Lite just because you'll see in a second. But I really want to just get down to just having a phone and text messaging on this phone, nothing else. So part of the Lite uh, phone is that I've seen their owner say that when they were creating the original Lite, they were trying to think about what to put into the phone, and they started thinking, well, people are going to need directions, so we need some kind of navigation system, or people are going to want a calculator and music and all these other things. And I think I get why they went that way, because these are sort of practical things, but I also think that they get away from what a phone is. Like, even before cell phones, what was a phone? A phone is simply just something that you make calls with. And I'm kind of even extending text messaging into a modern day phone, because I do think that's a big part of what a current modern day phone is. There's a lot of texting versus actual voice chats. So I'm getting this phone down to literally just making calls and making texts. And so, before I jump into that, I just want to say that the Lite phone is very small. And so, one of the complaints that I've seen people say is that the Lite phone, the battery dies on you really, really quick. And so, I was thinking that if you just increase the size of the phone just a little bit, not that much, but just a little bit, that you might have a bigger area to have a bigger battery. And then in addition, I don't know what else goes into the phone to add in that navigation system or the calculator or whatever, but because now you're getting rid of those, you have even more space in theory, I would think. But basically, that you would just increase the size just a little bit, just so that way you can have a bigger battery and a longer battery life for your phone. And then to that next point, again, we're getting down to really simple, interface here, which this is basically based on what Lite phone already has with their interface. It's really simple, but I've seen that when you add in different things that they have to offer, like the navigation system, or like an alarm, or all these different things, music and whatever. But when you add that, then you now have a scrolling feature. And to me, it just kind of looks a little odd. I really like the simplicity of just a one screen. And to that point, the Lite phone has two different options in terms of what they use to actually light their screen. So they either have the e-ink, which is on the Lite phone 2, or on the Lite phone 3, they have like a LED based screen. So I personally like the idea of doing the e-ink. I think it's just something kind of different. I think it gives the phone visually a different look, graphically, and just, holding it in your hand looks just so different from most phones that are out there. And I think it actually looks really sleek and really nice. I really like just the black and white look of these phones. I mean, as you can see around me, I really like black and white. I think it looks nice. So I think that there is this really like sleek, classy look to it that I really like, that I don't think needs to go away. And I think that's what people are drawn to. Honestly, I think it just looks really nice. So keep that really simple interface, and then don't add to this. So on this screen that you're seeing, There's no scrolling. It's literally just contacts, call, text, and your settings. And so it's just really that simple. And then finally, I'll just say about the actual text messaging itself. The one thing that I've seen people complain about with these phones is that the texting takes a little bit longer than usual to get sent out, or when you're typing out, it's easy to make mistakes. So I would say that, again, adding that little bit of space to the screen and focusing more on having a better text app might be the focus for this phone, is just to make texting a little bit better. And I now have two options of which you might achieve that. So number one is just integrating a better keyboard and having it read out a little bit better, a little bit easier to use in terms of an interface. I know I said about expanding the phone in terms of length, tall wise, but maybe it is a little fatter, so you can have a little bit more room to actually text without turning your phone, I mean. And also, if that's not a route you want to go and you just want to keep your phone small or whatever, I think kind of a fun, idea would only be having text to speech or speech to text, whatever you want, however you want to call it, or whatever it's pronounced. But anyway, basically the idea being that technology has gotten so good that, if you write out, so if you literally say something, there's not much to correct. And also, too, the whole point of this phone is that you just want to use it as a phone. I mean, texting, in my opinion, is necessary, but in some people's mind, maybe it isn't. If we're talking about just having a phone, so just text to speech instead of you actually having a physical keyboard would certainly free up a lot of screen space, and it would also eliminate the function of typing and whatever. So it might be a little bit more user friendly if you just had a really great text to speech and you didn't even worry about adding in letters to have people type out for themselves. So these are just a couple ideas that I thought of for the Lite phone, like really, really get it down to just a phone. And I think that's the point for most people now. A lot of people out there would say like, well, I need an alarm clock, I need a calculator, I need whatever. It's like, well, this idea allows you to go out and buy an alarm clock, and it also allows you to go buy a navigation system for your car or whatever. And in doing so, my opinion is that it actually helps other businesses. It helps people that specialize in making alarm clocks or navigation systems for your car or calculators or whatever. And it gets your phone back to just being a phone. Now, this is not for everybody. I understand. I saw one person's review on YouTube, and I think they made a great point, which is that unfortunately, we're now moving into a time period where you need to have apps on your phone to even go to concerts, and you have to have a QR code to show them. I know as a sports fan that I've had to do that, where I have to show a QR code as my ticket. I can't have a physical ticket anymore, which is kind of sad in its own way, because I think collecting tickets was kind of a fun thing. But I'm getting off point. But the bigger point is just that I think if you get this down to a phone, and the people out there that want it for a phone will buy it. Now, that leads me to my very, very last point here, which is that the price of these phones is a big turnoff for most people. I would very much like to buy one of these phones, but unfortunately, you're spending at least a base minimum of $299. And I think that if you just got this phone down to just calling and texting, and you sold it for $150, $200, I think people actually would buy that, in addition to having a smartphone, like a smartphone for those QR code pay with an Apple Pay type ventures, versus having this for just your daily on the go, hey, call me if you need me or text me or whatever. So anyway, just a couple ideas to throw out there. My name is Keith Freeze. Thank you for checking out this video, and go check out the Lite phones.